SpaceX is absolutely everywhere right now. I mean, when we talk about the modern space race, they utterly dominate the headlines, and for good reason. Thanks to plummeting launch costs and some seriously rapid technological leaps, the barrier to reaching orbit is literally lower than ever before. It's unlocking a brand new economic frontier. But for the everyday investor, there's still a massive barrier to entry if you want to get in on the ground floor with the biggest player in the game. So welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to look past those usual headlines, explore the broader, rapidly expanding space economy, and check out the alternative players that are stepping up to the launch pad. This brings up a really practical question. What if buying into SpaceX today is just too expensive or entirely inaccessible for you? What if there are smaller, much more nimble space companies that are perfectly positioned to ride this exact same orbital revolution, but they're currently trading at much lower valuations? Throughout this explainer, I'm going to show you the specific space stocks demanding attention right now as viable, high-growth alternatives. Now, keep in mind, these are companies for you to research, they're not guaranteed winners, and this definitely isn't financial advice. But they represent a fascinating shift in the market that you really need to know about. Here is our game plan for today. We're looking beyond the SpaceX hype, exploring their closest launch rival, diving into Earth data, space-based cell connectivity, a few other high-risk space bets, and finally, how to diversify with space ETFs. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Beyond the SpaceX hype, redefining the space economy.
Okay, first things first. It's time to break down our preconceptions. When most of us think about space investing, we automatically picture giant rockets blasting off into the unknown with all that fire and smoke, right? But the actual future of space relies heavily on invisible infrastructure. We're talking satellite internet, Earth observation, and space communications. It's advanced space technology and massive networks providing uninterrupted global connectivity. Your daily digital life, from the GPS in your car to the timestamps on your financial transactions, is already deeply reliant on this stuff. So while SpaceX gets the explosive rocket headlines, there are a ton of other companies quietly building and launching these highly critical pieces of our daily space economy. Section 2. The closest launch rival, Rocket Lab. So what's the deal with Rocket Lab? Right now, their core focus is successfully launching small satellites using their proven Electron rocket, but they are definitely not stopping there. They're actively developing a much larger, way more capable rocket called the Neutron, specifically to carry heavier payloads. What's absolutely crucial to understand here is that they aren't just a transport service. They actually build spacecraft and critical satellite components themselves. They're deeply embedded in the physical manufacturing of space infrastructure, essentially offering an end-to-end service for getting assets into orbit. Wall Street is paying very, very close attention to them for a few key reasons. Rocket Lab isn't just a shiny concept or a cool rendering on a website. They are operating a real commercial rocket launch business right now. They're consistently securing highly lucrative government contracts. They are tapped directly into that growing space infrastructure market we just talked about, making them a genuine battle-tested competitor in the satellite launch industry. So, the big question buzzing through the financial world is whether Rocket Lab can solidify its position as the undisputed second major space logistics company, right behind SpaceX. Look, you don't actually have to beat SpaceX at their own game to be wildly successful. While SpaceX completely dominates the heavy lift sector, transporting massive payloads and crewed missions, Rocket Lab has strategically carved out this highly specialized, incredibly vital niche. They focus intensely on small satellite launches with their Electron rocket. They're catering to clients who want a dedicated, direct ride to a specific orbit, rather than just ride sharing on a massive SpaceX Falcon 9. The takeaway? Both of these companies can exist and both can thrive, simply by servicing very different logistical needs within the exact same expanding orbital economy. Section 3. Earth Data and Observation, Planet Labs. Moving on to Planet Labs. These guys take a completely different but entirely fascinating approach to the space economy. Instead of focusing on deep space exploration or building massive rockets, they operate a continuous fleet of Earth imaging satellites. Think of it like they're creating a daily, highly searchable visual search engine for the surface of the Earth. Their entire business model is basically based on looking back down at us, harvesting high-resolution visual data to help leaders, governments, and businesses make critical, real-time decisions right here on the ground. But here's why this actually matters. It's all about how this incredible data is applied. Planet Labs' satellite fleet collects daily imagery that's used for monitoring global agriculture to prevent food shortages. It's tracking the real-time physical effects of climate change. It's performing complex infrastructure and supply chain analysis, and providing essential, time-sensitive government and defense intelligence. The big shift in perspective you should take away from this is that the true value of the space industry isn't just about reaching into the stars. It's equally about using space data to intelligently manage and protect our own planet. Section 4. Space-based cell connectivity, AST SpaceMobile. Okay, AST SpaceMobile. Their goal is literally game-changing. They want to create a broadband satellite network that connects directly to the unmodified, everyday smartphone that's already sitting in your pocket. You wouldn't need a clunky, expensive satellite phone with a massive antenna anymore. Think of it as placing cell towers directly in space. Imagine being out in the wilderness, miles from civilization, or in a disaster zone where local networks are completely wiped out. A satellite in low Earth orbit could seamlessly connect your standard mobile phone. They are talking about potentially eliminating dead zones from the face of the map entirely. No more no signal. Now, there are two distinct sides to this coin with AST SpaceMobile. On one hand, the potential is just staggering. They're tapping into a huge, untouched global connectivity market, really aiming to bridge the digital divide for billions of people. Plus, they're already securing major partnerships with established global telecom giants and setting themselves up as fierce, direct competitors to traditional SATCOM services. But on the other hand, we have to be real. This remains a highly risky company. The incredibly complex technology required to beam a signal directly to a tiny smartphone antenna, combined with the massive capital needed for a commercial rollout, it simply has to succeed. It is the ultimate high-reward, high-risk play. Section 5. Other high-risk space bets, the broader market. To really give you a sense of the sheer variety out there, let's do a rapid-fire run-through of the incredibly diverse ambitions competing in this new frontier. You've got audacious lunar transportation and moon missions happening with intuitive machines. Then you have commercial space tourism aiming to give civilians the astronaut experience with Virgin Galactic. There are companies focused entirely on Earthbound intelligence, like Black Sky delivering real-time satellite imagery. If we dig deeper into the actual supply chain, you have Redwire focusing on the critical nuts and bolts, space components, manufacturing, and orbital infrastructure. And finally, you have Iridium Communications, representing the much more established guard of satellite voice and data coverage. It's a wildly varied, highly speculative, and honestly thrilling landscape. Section 6. Diversifying with space ETFs, spreading the risk. Now, if you don't want to try picking a single needle out of a very expensive haystack, space ETFs are a great alternative. They let you buy a whole basket of the ecosystem at once, spreading your risk across multiple players. For example, ARKX holds a curated blend of companies involved in satellites, aerospace, and exploration. The UFO ETF takes a very direct approach, focusing heavily on pure-play space businesses and infrastructure. And the ROKT ETF includes a wide, balanced range of companies deeply connected to aerospace defense, space tech, and long-term exploration. Basically, these funds allow you to own a diversified slice of the entire industry without having to bet your life savings on a single rocket launch going perfectly. All right, let's bring it all together and recap what we've covered today. Instead of paying a huge premium for a private giant like SpaceX, we've explored the accessible next generation of the space economy. We analyzed Rocket Lab for actual orbital hardware and launches. We looked at Planet Labs for crucial Earth data and actionable intelligence. We explored AST SpaceMobile's revolutionary vision for direct-to-smartphone global connectivity. And we reviewed ETFs as the primary tool for broad diversification. What's super clear is that the very definition of a space company has fundamentally changed. It's gone from just building rockets to building invisible, everyday global infrastructure. But please remember this key takeaway. While the space industry could be absolutely massive in the coming decades, a lot of these companies are still early stage, unproven, and fundamentally risky. Which brings us to our final thought. Knowing what you know now about the broader market, the highly specialized niches we talked about, and the diversified ETFs available, would you still hold out for a chance to buy a slice of SpaceX? Or would you strategically build a portfolio of these smaller, dynamic space companies? It's a fascinating choice, and one that's going to define the financial future of the new space economy. Thanks so much for joining me to figure it all out, and keep looking up.